Good morning. Today on Customer States What, we have a 2016 Toyota Tacoma. We got the taco truck, and we are replacing a transmission. Why, you might ask, on such a new vehicle? Well, one of the transmission coolers, either in the radiator or attached to the transmission, started leaking, and coolant went into the transmission fluid, which caused this vehicle to shudder under light loads around 35 miles per hour. That's a giggity. Well, it might be, but yeah, whatever. Yeah, we're replacing the transmission, so let's get into it. So now that we're up to getting those converter bolts out, they're really hard to get to. They are, you know, take the starter out, and there's the hole where we got to reach into. Giggity. But there really is no good way. And the only way you could actually see the head of the bolts are through, you gotta look through here and all the way in there. You could just see it. And what you gotta do is, or what I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna have to make a little rainbow of extensions to go to here, and hopefully I can get those converter bolts out without rounding them. Fingers crossed. Okay guys, here we are in the belly of the beast. We have the transfer case out. We have all the drive shafts out. A little trick, you take the transmission mount out, and now we can gain access to those top bell housing bolts pretty easily. But I also see a coolant leak. Let's get this transmission out and see what's leaking over there. Well, alright guys, we got the transmission out, and here's what I found. This here coolant manifold split on this side, and Toyota coolant coagulates when it hits air, so it kind of self-sealed, but we're gonna replace that. But I gotta wait a day. I gotta wait until tomorrow because we don't have it in stock. And now would be the perfect time to do it because there's all of this room right here. And instead of taking the whole manifold out and doing it from up top, I'm gonna do it from the bottom. Giggity. So yeah, I guess we're gonna have to push this car out and wait for parts to come in tomorrow. Yay! Alright guys, we got the brand new part, so we got to get the old manifold out. It just looks like there's 3 10mm on each side. We had 2 connectors, one here, one for a temp sensor over here. We also had to get a pair of needle nose to get the clips out so we could reuse them. Now there was a guy here and there was a guy up here. So we still have to get a hose off right there, and then we might have to drain some coolant, but we'll get it out. All right, we got all the mounting. Excuse me, we got all the mounting hardware out. Let's see. Come on, wiggle, 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 wiggle. Oh yeah. That sucked. Alright, surfaces are cleaned, O-ring is replaced and greased up a little bit. Let's get that new manifold in. Slip right on in. Very good. Let's get the tube on. Yeah, even better. Alright, we'll get the hardware on, sort that up to spec, and continue the transmission job. Very good. Alright, we're going out. Let's go a little further.
It's all good, just turn me on.
Oh boy, gotta go forward a little bit. One more. We're like right there. Let's double check both sides. It's looking good there. Looking good there. Let's just get to the same height roughly, and then we gotta wiggle, wiggle, wiggle on the way in. Alright, that's where I want to be. Very good. So guys, this is the seam that I'm watching right here. You got the engine block and you got the transmission. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to line up the holes. And there are 2 dowel pins that will come into play. So I just want to get it to approximately where it needs to be. Double check both sides. It looks like I gotta tilt the transmission to the right a little bit, just a hair. Possibly a C hair. Let's see. Yes, that is a unit of measurement. Let's go up a little bit more. Oh, I think one of those dowels just went in. Let's see the other side. Other side holes are ooh-wee lined up. What? Don't tell me. Don't threaten me with a good time. No, I'm pretty much there. I think I'm in. At least I think. I don't know if they think, but I think I'm in. The seam is nice there. Boys, I think we're in, guys. I really do. Let's get some bolts in them holes. Alright guys, we have the new transmission lines ran from the radiator all the way back to the new transmission. We got the new thermostat assembly. Got the, I believe that's the assembly right there. Here's the cooler, or one of them. You got coolant that goes through here, heats and or cools transmission fluid depending on when it's needed. I'm gonna have to pull this pin when I'm done. So everything else here is routed up. We still have to install the transfer case. I almost made a very large Goomba move by installing the starter before installing the converter bolts. So that's what we're doing right now. We're installing the converter bolts. Now, this is a very big tip here, guys. There is a token black torque converter bolt. As you can see, there's this guy, and then there's all these gold ones right here. Well, this one is a collared bolt. So you put this one in first, and it will align all the other holes. So we install this finger tight enough to where we could move the converter, or actually rotate the engine to the other holes safely and surely. So let's get this one in right here. Now, there is no Loctite on here, so we're not going to install any Loctite, and it's not in the repair manual, but we will be torquing these to specifications. So let's get them in. Well, alright guys, transmission is in. All the wiring is routed, bell housing bolts are tight, torque converter bolts are tight, starter is in, bolts are tight. Everything on this side, all the harnesses, all the brackets, all the heat shields, they're all in place and tight. Transfer case is all tight, harness has been routed. Breather lines have been installed. Now the coolant leak, there's our leak right there, right on that seam right there, and my light just died. Beautiful. But yeah, I think it's going to be the end of the day. I might just finish this tomorrow. Alright guys, now that it's back in the morning,
back at it. So this is all we have left. We have our rear drive shaft. We have our front drive shaft. We have one transfer case bolt that is on top, and this goes to a harness, and it's a bitch to reach. So I got to get that. Not really sure where this guy went. It might be a bracket of some sort. These I know I had to cut out of the exhaust. I replaced. These go into one of those braces. And this goes on the cat side, on the driver's side. So that's really it. Then it's just fluids, transmission fluid, fill and check, coolant fill, and pressure check. There's our front drive shaft, and here's a note, guys. Always, oh yeah, there it is. I was gonna say, crap, I didn't mark it. I always mark my drive shafts. That's to the front of the vehicle. Always mark the flanges as well. Return them into their original position. Unless you're replacing the diff or replacing the drive shaft, then it's a new position. But you could create a vibration within the drivetrain. So that's one of the tips of this video, guys. Mark your drive shafts. Mark your shafts and put them back. Just so you guys know that that bolt was not an OTS bolt, an over-the-shoulder bolt. There it is right there with the harness in the bracket. So now we're ready to put the shafts in. Alright. Well, alright guys, everything is in. I ran out of parts to put back in the car. Coolant has been vac fed and bled. Well, we got to start it to bleed it further, but yeah, you know what I mean. The transmission fluid has been filled. Has been actually a little overfilled because we have a giant void from here up. We got to fill the cooler, we got to fill the lines. Now there's a little thermostat right here, and I got these zip ties on this grenade pin for a reason. When this plunger is pushed in, the system fully flows through everything, fully flows. This only opens when the temperature is at a certain rating. So we keep that open to fill everything up there. And then we're actually going to leave it open because we want the transmission to get to a certain temperature. Then we take this plug out right here, and based off the temperature of the transmission and the expansion of the fluid, a certain amount will start pissing out of here. And then once you get a steady stream, you always want a steady stream, at a certain temperature, you put it back and you go drive. And that's how you do the temperature fluid check. Now I have these zip ties on here for a reason, and my foreman said put something there just in case so you don't forget it. So yeah, don't forget that pin or the transmission will constantly be overcooling for the rest of its life. So yeah, let's see how much I stuck. Let's connect the battery and start her up. Alright, let's see. Contact! Okay, that's good. Anything pissing underneath? Even better! Oh yeah! Alright, very good. Let's get it a little warm and then hook up the scan tool and do some fluid checks. Very good. Well, almost made a Goomba move, guys. Almost. Well, here's the real test. Let's see if the freaking transmission works. Oh, we're going forward! Reverse? Oh, yeah. Okay, it works. Wait, I'm in reverse. Why is that going forward?
Oh yeah, it's an open. No, we're good. Very good. Don't worry about that knocking. Those are just the control arms starting to talk a little bit.
Well, all right, guys. Nothing is left. Nothing is left. All fluids have been bled. Transmission fluid has been checked at proper operating temperature. Now we're going to go on our maiden voyage and make sure the car drives. Like, we did run the car on the lift, in gear, in four-wheel drive. We know all the wheels move. We know the fluid is where it needs to be. So we're going to go on a few miles, make sure everything is good, and then return the car to the customer. Very good, guys. If you don't know what to do, please like, subscribe, hit that bell notification for further content.